Thank you, everybody, for joining Community Mediation Maryland. This is our demonstration on parenting plan mediations done on Zoom. So we will start off by demonstrating how we prepare. But before I do that, I'm going to introduce the demonstration team, the role play team with us today. So I have Darnyle. Darnyle, can you wave to the good people? And Cawanna.
Hey.
They are playing they are role playing as our parents. And my co-mediator today is David Foster.
Hello.
All four of us are mediators, and Cawanna and Darnyle are great mediators and excellent actors. And so they are playing our participants. David has a lot of experience doing parenting plan mediations. He's done a slew of them. So he's going to be my co-mediator. Anything y'all would like to say to the good folks on YouTube before we put you, Darnyle and Cawanna, before we put you in the waiting room and David and I demonstrate prepping?
No.
You good? Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to send you off, and when they come back, they will cease being Cawanna and Darnyle, and they'll come back as their role play characters. Right? Thank you, guys. David, can you put Darnyle in the waiting room, and I'm going to put Cawanna in the waiting room?
Yes, but before I do that, can you make me co-host?
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right. Perfect.
All right. All right. So David and I are going to demonstrate prepping our documents and everything prior to the mediation. Some of the things that we need to take care of are making sure that we have the consent to mediate form signed by both of the participants, that we have a document sharing the mediation process, as well as the parenting plan topics list. And I think, David, if it's all right with you, I'd like to put all of those things in the same Google sheet.
Mm-hmm.
We can Google Sheet, Google document.
Yeah.
And share it with each other. And I was also thinking about copying and pasting the mediation process into the chat so they have access to that as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to have it all in one document. So therefore, like, especially if you're balancing multiple mediations, you're able just to kind of keep track and ensure that you have all of your paperwork there.
Okay,
so that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Okay. And I have a document I will share with you. I'm just the name of it will be the file number.
Okay.
I won't put any specific information, like discerning information, in there to protect the participants' confidentiality. Not that I expect anybody to be looking at this. Okay.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
All right. Do you have that? I just emailed that to you.
Okay. Let me check.
Gmail account, so it's easier to get to.
Yeah, the file case number. All right. Okay. I've got that up on my screen now.
All right, great. And it really hasn't been that long since we mediated together. So in terms of dividing up responsibilities, you're already co-host. Oh, let me set the parameters on the chat where I'm actually if it's okay with you, I'm going to put it so chats can only happen publicly. Is that okay? So there's not private dialogue?
Yeah, I agree. I always think it's best to, treat Zoom similar to in-person anyway. So if you want to chat with your co-mediator, like you should call a break. But otherwise, like, I think transparency for a Zoom online session is kind of the best practice.
Okay. That works. And then in terms of breaking up the steps, breaking up step 1, I think we decided last time it was my turn to read the consent to mediate form.
Yes, it was, because you have a good way of persuading me to be the one to read it. So I think it's your turn.
I do manage to get out of that quite a bit. So I will I'll pull that document up. I think correct me, I think that both participants have already signed the consent to mediate form in advance with the center.
Yes.
If you can help me remember to check in with them.
Okay, so check in with them right before the consent form is read. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know, David, I'm having a hard time finding the consent form.
Oh, the consent form, that's been a struggle. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can find one.
I'm joking with you. I really am. I know I have a copy of it around here somewhere. Do you mind starting off step one, and then I can actually I can start step one, and then do you mind doing the big three? And then I can pick up at the consent to mediate area.
So so you do step one, you start with the process map, and then I take it from the big three onward to the right before the consent.
Yes.
Okay. So if you read the consent form, then should I do the intro to step two?
Yes, that would be great.
All right. Do you have a preference over whether you would I mean, I know the first reflection isn't as typical in a parenting plan. So let me check to see here.
Yeah, I say we just kind of jump in where we, if you have something, just jump in. If I have something, I'll jump in.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, in terms of checking in with them about their kids, and about what they value about them, and the information gathering. So do we want to also, for the online session, do we want to capture that in the document as well, or do we just want to acknowledge it and affirm them as they're kind of speaking about the children?
Say that one more time.
Yeah. So I know normally in person, when it involves the child and like we're asking them details about them, like we'll normally like write some of their qualities and things like that, and we'll write that on a paper for them to share. Shall we do that also with our online document, and to like capture the some of like the affirming things about the child, or should we just like affirm it verbally and check?
I think just verbally will be fine. Yeah, I think just
yeah, I think it'll cut down on the amount of paperwork. Yeah.
And anything else before we bring them back in?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so. We can check in regards to like what topics we feel more comfortable framing. And brainstorming. Yeah, I think we could just check in when we get there. So I feel pretty confident.
Okay. All right. I received a message. The participants are having a hard time they're not being able to change their name while they're in the waiting room.
Are they in the, oh, okay, yeah, they're the waiting room, not the breakout room. Okay.
Right. So I will, we'll bring them back in, and then we'll give them a chance to change their name and into the role play. Is that okay?
That works for me.
Okay. All right. Actually, do you mind bringing them in? I'm trying to set up my consent to mediate form so I can read it.
No problem. And are you going to share the screen when you do the process map to show the process map on the in the Zoom? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I'll admit them. Ready?
And if I don't, please remind me to.
I will.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I'll admit them now. And do you have a copy and pasted for the chat?
Let me see if I copied and pasted it. Oh no, I have the wrong thing in the chat. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about it, I could copy paste it in the chat. That works, no problem.
Okay, that's good, because actually what I just pasted in the chat was the topics list. And if you don't mind, I'd like to keep that in there. I mean, I wouldn't show it right away, but I could show it. So if you could show the process map, I could later show the topics list.
Works perfectly well for me.
Okay.
All right, you ready for me to let them back in?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
Never mind.
All right, Darnell's in and Cawanna should be joining soon.
And Darnell, you can go ahead and change your character's name. And Cawanna, if you want to go ahead and change your character's name. All right. All right. So that was just a quick demo of how I would prep with my co-mediator. We have our documents up. We know who's going to be sharing what and how we're going through, how we're going to start step 1 of the process, and how we'll lead into step 2. Throughout this video, I will be covering how the transitions, how we transition from one step to the next. So at this point, we're going to move into step 1. And step 1, the process is to explain mediation and cover any documentation that needs to be covered. All right. And when we started, we agreed, David and I agreed that I would get step 1 started. So here we go. Thank you both for joining us today. Can we get your names and the names and spelling of your children?
My name's Sebastian.
Okay.
One daughter, Irene, Irene, and one son, Nelson, Nelson.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Amber Renee.
Okay.
And you know, he already gave you the children's name, so.
Okay.
But you all can call me Amber.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
Yep. And is your spelling of your names as it's spelled on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Gotcha.
you.
Thank you.
All right. And again, I'm Tracee, and this is my co-mediator.
David.
So we're going to take a few minutes to explain the mediation process and make sure everyone understands what we will be using today, the process we'll be using. And you've probably heard some of this when you talk with the center staff, with the intake staff, and we're just going to make sure that all of us are on the same page. After we go through this and check in on some of the paperwork, we'll begin discussing the situation that brought you to mediation. And we've been trained by Community Mediation Maryland to be your mediators. We have read and will abide by the Maryland Standard of Conduct for mediators throughout this mediation session. And you're welcome to request a copy of the standards from the Mediation Center, or a staff member can direct you to a web link where you can read the standards of conduct, okay? David, you were going to share the process map in the chat, is that right?
Correct. Here it is.
So I'm going to go through this very quickly. So right now we're in step 1, and this is just about explaining the mediation process. When we get to step 2, we'll ask you to talk about your children and the family. And in step 3, we'll start talking about the specific topics that you would like to use parenting plan mediation to make decisions about for Nelson and Irene. And when we get to step 4, you'll have an opportunity to come up with solutions around the topics that you discussed in step 3. And if you would like, in step 5, we can develop a written agreement, and that may be an enforceable contract. Okay.
And Tracee, do you want to share your screen just to give them a visual representation of the process map?
Sure thing. Okay, can everyone see that? All right, and so these are the steps we were just covering. Right. Any questions about the process that we've covered, that we've gone over so far?
No.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to pass it to David.
Yes, absolutely. And just pulling up my guide here. So, as a part of this mediation, there are really the big three that Tracee and I will abide by as your mediators. And so, in the big three, the first part is confidentiality. And so Tracee and I are dedicated to confidentiality during this mediation session. That means Tracee and I will not be sharing any details of this mediation session with anyone outside of the program staff, and the program staff are actually held to those same standards. So that's the first part of confidentiality. And the second part of confidentiality, it talks about what could be said outside of mediation. So you all as the participants are not bound by confidentiality. And so you all are welcome to discuss the details of the mediation. But Tracee and I, we're going to be bound by confidentiality. And so your details and all of your information will be kept private. The second part of confidentiality that is, of the big three that's important is that it's voluntary. So everyone here in this mediation session, including Tracee and I, and the two of you are here by our own free will. That means that you all are free to end the process at any time, and you all will not be forced to come to any decisions that you all have not agreed to. And the third part of the big three is going to be that we are non-judgmental. So Tracee and I are not here to make judgment. We are not here to decide who was right and who was wrong. We are merely here to help facilitate the discussion, and we will not be coming up with any of the solutions. All solutions that will be developed during this session will be ones that you all have come up with. Are there any questions about anything about the big three so far?
No.
No.
All right, cool. And yeah, if at any point you have questions during the step, feel free to ask us. So checking in terms of timing and housekeeping, we are scheduled right now to go until 5 o'clock. Does that still work for folks?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And if anyone wants to call a break, whether to use the bathroom or get a drink of water, whenever one of us calls a break, we will all go on break. And what will happen is that Tracee and I will put you all into separate breakout rooms. This is to help maintain our neutrality, but the breakout rooms will also allow for you all to message us and just check in with us. And we'll check in with you all before we're able to go back. And when anyone calls a break, then we'll all take a break. So we'll all go ahead and use the breakout rooms. And I want to check, is everyone accessing this mediation on a secure Wi-Fi connection?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and are you folks able to have privacy throughout the duration of the session?
Yes.
Okay, great. And if that changes at any point, just let us know and we'll be able to adjust. Am I missing anything, Tracee?
I think that covers it.
Okay.
So at this point, I want to check in. I think the center received consent to mediate forms from both of you via email with your DocuSign on it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, great.
But I do have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so since you said that we'll be making all the decisions, what if there are things that we can't agree on? Then what?
Is that about feeling worried about being able to make decisions within mediation?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a particular thing that you're feeling concerned about?
Well, I know there are a couple of things that we've never been able to agree on, and I don't imagine that we'll be able to agree on them now.
Okay. So
How do you know that? How do you know that? Before we even get into the process? Like, never mind, go ahead.
Because we've had children for almost 12 years now, and we have not been able to agree. If we were able to agree, we would not be here right now.
This is why we're here, though. We're here to try to agree. So why don't you be open to it before you say how you know we won't agree? Be open.
I didn't say, where is all of this anger coming from? I didn't say we wouldn't be able to agree. I simply asked a question.
But your question was saying that, what if we can't agree? Because we never agreed. So you're not open to it. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Your ridiculousness is.
So feeling skeptical about being able to make some decisions collaboratively, Amber, and like looking for some clarification about how you would move forward in mediation.
Yes, that's all I was asking.
At spaces of impasse, is that right?
Yes, just kind of thinking ahead, what if we can't agree?
And Sebastian, I think I was hearing you saying like being optimistic and open in the process is something that's important to you. Is that right?
Very much so. That's why I'm here.
And so Amber, so you have a chance to decide together what your processes will be when you hit impasse, right? And like how you, the two of you, can navigate that. And again, we only capture things in writing that you both have consensus on.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just going to I want to make sure that we do read through the consent to mediate form out loud. I'm going to share it with you. And so by signing below, I agree to participate in mediation conducted by this Community Mediation Center. I understand that the discussions in this mediation and those with the mediation program staff will remain confidential. This means that the mediators and staff will not share information gathered during intake or during the mediation session with anyone outside of the program. All participants in the mediation, other than the mediators, are free to talk about what was said in mediation with others other than in a judicial, administrative, or other hearing, unless they agree otherwise in writing. The mediators and program staff will not voluntarily share any information from the mediation in any judicial, administrative, or other hearing. We mediation participants will not voluntarily share this information in a judicial, administrative, or other hearing. It is our intention to comply with the annotated Code of Maryland, Section 3-1802, and Judiciary Rule Title 17, which state that mediators and mediation participants may not disclose or be compelled to disclose mediation communication in any judicial, administrative, or other proceeding. Information regarding child abuse, abuse of vulnerable adults, or credible threats to do bodily harm are exceptions and or to confidentiality and may be disclosed unless we agree otherwise in writing. Any written agreement which comes out of mediation is not considered confidential. The mediators signing below have read and, consistent with state law, will abide by the Maryland Standard of Conduct for mediators during this mediation session. Okay. And so David and I have signed, and we've, it's my understanding that your signature has been received by the center as well. But I wanted to make sure we read it out loud and check to see if you had any questions about the document itself. Okay, all right, thank you. So unless there's any questions about anything we've covered so far, we're getting ready to move on to step 2. All right, any questions?
No.
Okay, so this is me talking to our viewers right now. So we're about to move on to step 2 of the mediation process, where we'll be asking the parents to talk about their children and the family. So there's a couple of things that I want to say. For us in the inclusive mediation model and the community mediation world, we say parents, and for us, that is the people that show up. So oftentimes it is a mother and father. Sometimes they're step parents, sometimes it's grandparents. There's been occasion where it's great grandparents, but the folks who show up to mediation and are interested in participating and making decisions on the behalf of the children, those are the folks that we honor as parents in this process, okay? And so that can be a lot of different mixes of folks. The other thing is we are going to demonstrate 2 different ways that step 2 may happen with the participants. So the question that we will be asking in step 2 is, tell us about the children, tell us about your family, right? And so sometimes parents can just do exactly that, can follow the letter of the law and answer that question. And so we'll demonstrate that. And then we'll demonstrate another way that parents sometimes answer that question. Okay. So we'll do 2 takes on this, and you'll get to see that. So and David, I think you were gonna demo introduction step 2. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right. And so now that step 1 has been covered, we'll be moving on into step 2, which is where we get to kind of understand what's happening with the family. But before we do that, because decisions of custody and visitation are matters which sometimes involve the court system or other agencies, we want to know a little bit more about in which context this mediation is happening. So how did you folks get connected with the mediation program?
Well, it was recommended that we try mediation to try to get to an even understanding between the 2 of us on how we should raise the children.
Yes, and I went online and did some research and found the center that way, and I called to set this up.
Okay, so self-referred. There are no agencies involved with this parenting plan.
Not yet.
No.
All right, gotcha. Just wanted to make sure. And so now that the formal stuff has been taken care of, we really would like to get to know more about your children and your family. So tell us a little bit about Irene and about Nelson.
Well, they are, 2 very beautiful, bright children, really, really smart. And, they, what can I say? They love their mother and their father. And, I like to make sure that they are well-rounded, and I like to keep them busy with activities so that they can be, cultured. I like to take them to museums and things like that, and they really enjoy that. And, ballet, both of them love dance. Both of them are in dance classes, so they really love that. And that's kind of it. I'm here to make sure that Sebastian and I can get on the same page so that our relationship does not negatively impact the children. And so that's why I don't understand why, Sebastian sees everything as an attack. You saw how when I asked a simple question, how he just kind of went off the rails. And so, that's it. But
Yeah, can I go?
We'd like to hear from each of you. Yes. And thank you, Amber.
Okay.
Mhm.
2 wonderful, bright, loving kids. Like she said, they love their mother, they love their father, and they would love to see us get along. So their vivaciousness is infectious, and they just love everything. When they're around me, they like to do things, and I like to do things with them. They do have a lot going on when it comes to all of the activities that they're enrolled in. I would love for some of that to not interrupt my time. So that's another reason why we're here. They're basically going to be in another family because I'm looking to get married soon. They love my my fiance, love her to death, And so in order for that dynamic to be good, I need this dynamic to be good. So all in all,
that's all very interesting, because
did I interrupt
all the
you?
years we were together, you said you didn't believe in marriage.
Did I interrupt you? Thank you. So back to the kids. I would
Back
love
to
for
the
them
kids.
back
The only
to the
thing you
kids.
said, you talked about your time. You've only talked about your time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so never mind. You just go ahead and go.
Thank you. So like I said, that dynamic is going to be in my household, and the dynamic that I want to have with her, I want it to be good. So this is another reason why we're here.
Okay. Thank you. And I think, if I understand right, please let me know if I missed something. Amber, it sounds like feeling really impressed with Nelson and Irene and the people that they are, and I think like particularly impressed with their intellect and their socialization, and want to and feeling protective of them in particular in terms of how you and Sebastian get along with each other. And it's like you feel sometimes misunderstood with what happens with communication with Sebastian. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Sebastian, I think I'm hearing like feeling a lot of adoration for your children, and excited and to be around them. Is that right?
Yes.
And worried about some of the things that might be going on with activities. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And David, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, also, I echo, Tracee's sentiments, feeling very proud of your children. And also, I also heard a couple things about some of the things you might be looking for, Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you mentioned looking for a communication as a part of the process. Is that right?
Yes.
And Sebastian, it also sounds like looking for accessibility is important to you in developing solutions. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. And there will absolutely be a time later on this mediation in step 4, once we introduce all of our topics, that there will definitely be room for solutions as well. But yeah, that's all I had to add, Tracee.
Okay. And I just wanted to check in. What do Irene and Nelson call the two of you?
Well, they call me mommy.
Okay.
They call me dad.
All right. And I'm sorry, I think you said this, but can you say their ages again?
9 and 11.
Who's 9? Who's 11?
Irene is 11.
Okay. All right.
And Nelson is 9.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
And besides the two of you, who are other significant people in their lives?
My mother and father.
Okay. And what do they call them?
Mama and Papa.
Okay. And who else?
And my brother.
Okay. And they call
him Uncle Ray.
Uncle Ray.
Uncle Ray, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then their Uncle Ray has several children. They're, cousins. They just call them by their names.
Okay.
That they like to play with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And anyone else that would that are significant folks in their lives?
Significant, my fiance.
Okay.
Kimmy.
Kimmy, and what do they call her?
For now, they call her Kimmy, Miss Kimmy.
Okay. Okay. All right. And anyone else? Oh, all right. Is there anything else?
Did you forget you have sisters? The ones that broke us up? You forgot about them?
The ones that broke us up. Wow.
And what did they call their aunts?
That's the two of their aunts, you know, Aunt Rainey and Aunt Janie.
Aunt Rainey and Aunt Jeannie.
Yes.
All right. All right. Is there anything else you feel like we need to know before we move into the next step of the process?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Okay. So talking back to our friends on YouTube. So that is just kind of a straightforward and direct step 2. All right. Now we're going to demonstrate a step 2 that could also happen, is just as likely to happen. Okay. So imagine us doing the whole rewind process, and we've just ended step 1 and we're moving into step 2. And David, if you could pick up with just asking them to tell us about the family, that'd be great.
Right. All right, thank you. And so now that the formal stuff is out of the way, we'd really like to ask you about the family and about the children. So if you could tell us a little bit about the children.
Since they're with me most of the time, I think I should start. They are wonderful, you know, beautiful, very bright children, and you know, really precocious. They love to laugh and have fun. You know, we do a lot of things together. They love to dance, and
Not both of them.
excuse me?
Not both of them. Nelson don't like it.
What are you talking about?
Nelson does not like to dance.
Loves it.
No, he does not like that clash. I don't know why. I told you this before. He don't like being there.
He loves being there.
He does not like being there.
He's saying that because he knows you don't like him being there.
Have you asked him? Have you asked him? Have you straight up asked him? Or do you?
I don't have to ask him.
Yes, you do have to ask him. You do have to ask him if he likes the class or not.
They're at home dancing all around.
So you're forcing him to go to class.
He's the one that asked to join the class.
Are you forcing him to go to class?
No, I'm not forcing him to do anything.
So why don't you ask him whether or not he likes it or not? Ask him. Just ask him. Just say, Nelson, do you like going to this class? And I bet you'll tell you, no, I'm not into it. Because he's not.
I mean, no disrespect to you as a father. And I know that you're with them every other weekend and a month in the summertime. So you know them so well.
Oh, really? That's where you're going to come. You know, that's your pettiness right now. That's coming out, your little pettiness.
That's what it is. That's what it is, sir.
The rules of the custody. Okay, that's where you want
to
go.
They're with me all day, every day. I know my children. Okay, really? I know my children.
I don't think you do.
And
you don't ask them nothing, so how you know? You just take them to where they want to go. You're going to be in this. You're going to be in that. You're going to be in this class. You're going to be in that class.
You're upset because I want them to be cultured?
No. I'm upset because you force them to do something they don't want to do. That's why I'm upset. All these classes. It's like 9 or 10 classes. They're kids. They don't always got to be in certain classes and going everywhere and doing everything because that's what you want to do. Your structure is so out there that they got to go to all these classes. If you just ask Nelson, do you like a dance class? He's going to tell you, no, that's one class you can take him out of. Now we got to deal with the other 8. But anyway, go ahead. Do you?
I'm not sure why it's such a big deal to you because you're not even paying for it.
It doesn't matter whether or not I'm paying for it or not. My son doesn't like it in the class. And I got to sit there because sometimes the class falls on the time that I'm with them. And I got to sit here and watch him be unhappy in this class.
There it is. That's what this is really about. It's really about your time
It's not,
Because
no.
you don't want to make the time to take your children to their activities.
Who
That's
wants to
the real
sit there,
problem here.
Who wants to sit there and watch their son be upset and not into a class, but I gotta take it because his mother's paying for it?
He
I don't
loves
want
the class. He
Okay.
loves hip hop dance.
Let me ask a question. When was the last time you really paid attention to him while he was in the class? Or were you just on your phone or talking to the other parents and not really recognizing what's going on with him? Which is what you usually do, probably, because, you know, when I asked him, what did your mother say? You said you never asked him. And when I said, well, what does she do when you're in class? Well, she's normally talking to the other parents or she's on her phone. So you don't even recognize that he don't like the class.
You have a lot of nerve, sir. But I'm sorry, ma'am. What were you saying?
I wanted to check in a little bit because we heard a little bit from both of you, and I want to check in terms of like some of the things that you've currently said, and I think we have, David and I have a few questions. But I think Amber, something I think I'm saying is that cultural exposure and diversity when it comes to activities is something that's important to you.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm also hearing like feeling confident about the children's Nelson and Irene's interest and having them in activities that expand their horizons is something that you're looking for. Is that right?
Yes, they both love to dance.
But it's not hip hop dancing, it's ballet. He don't like ballet.
And I think Sebastian, I think feeling outraged about what's been going on with activities and having Nelson and Irene's input in terms of the activities is something that's important to you.
Very much so. When he says I don't like ballet,
and see that's the thing right there. Sebastian is talking about things he doesn't even know because Irene is in ballet. And Nelson is in hip hop dance. Nelson often imitates the things he sees his sister doing in her ballet class. So you don't even know what you're talking about.
No. See, this is what I'm saying.
He doesn't like ballet because he's not in ballet.
You don't pay attention in class. Obviously, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're walking to the car and getting something to eat and hanging out with the other mothers or whatever. But they are making him do ballet and he doesn't like it. So maybe if you paid attention while you were there to what's going on with your kids, then you'd understand that there are aspects of this class that he has to participate in that he doesn't want to. How about that? Stay off the phone.
I have 14 days in between every visit they have with you to observe.
Okay, well then observe then. Observe and stop talking to anybody else.
I know very well what they like.
Yeah.
And what they don't like.
You thought you did. You thought you did.
And Sebastian, is that about staying engaged with the activities when they're doing them and paying attention to what's going on that's important to you?
That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly staying engaged. And maybe if you were interested in some of the classes they were doing, maybe you stay engaged too. Like I would love for them to get in some of the classes that I want to get them into. But they got so many classes they go
like
in.
What?
French and voice and ballet. Well, an African drumming class. How about that? That's fun. Nelson loves that. Irene can dance to that.
Oh, Jesus.
What's wrong with that?
So Sebastian, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like having some ideas about what's going on currently with the activities in the children's schedule. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of ideas.
Yeah, and there will absolutely. And I just want to check in and just to make sure there will absolutely be a time once we gather some more information about your family later on where we'll be able to where you folks will be able to choose the topics that y'all would like to discuss, as well as develop some solutions for those topics and use them and talk to each other about them during this mediation session.
All right, that's cool.
And Tracee, you mentioned some you mentioned that you might potentially have some questions. So I want to give you the room to ask those.
Yes, I'd like to talk about relationships and everything. And so we tell us, what do the children call each of you?
Oh, mommy
and dad.
Okay. And besides the two of you, who are other significant people in the children's lives?
You have my fiance, Kimmy, and you have, yeah, I knew you had something to say about that. You got a real issue.
My fiance.
Exactly.
This is the man who never believed in marriage because marriage was a government institution, and he didn't believe in it. The government doesn't tell him who he can love and all of this foolishness.
Maybe she showed me a better way. Maybe she showed me a better way. All of a sudden,
he's the marrying man.
Maybe she showed me a better way, because I look, between all of your exhausting, like you're so exhaustive that I probably didn't want to see myself married to you.
Exhausting?
You're exhausting. Very much.
What exactly does exhausting mean?
Exhausting means everything, your demands, everything got to be so detailed. Everything got to be this, everything got to be that. Everything got to be so structured. And sometimes you just want to be able to just have fun, but you can't have that around you. I like
things to be decent and in order. And that's a bad thing for you?
It's too much with you. It's too much. So let me get back. So we got my sisters, Aunt Rainey and Aunt Janie. That's what they call them. No, you don't like them either, because you feel like, oh, they broke us up.
Because they don't know how to mind their business.
Because they like their brother and they didn't like you.
Of course, I don't like them.
And they didn't like you. They didn't like the way you treated me. They didn't like the way you treated me. So that's where we are. But that has nothing to do with how we should be able to parent. And right now, your exhausting, detailed demands are now being put on my kids, because they got to go to all these classes. And all these classes do cut into the time I have with them. So yes, I do feel some type of way that I got on my time. And would you say every other week and 1 month in the summer? That time is cut from all these classes that you got them in that you paying for.
So Sebastian, it sounds like feeling restricted with what your time with Irene and Nelson looks like, and looking for some ideas around activities that get you more flexibility.
Very restrictive.
And it sounds like being able to maximize that time is something that's important to you.
Yes. That little bit of time I have, yes.
You know, he's so full of it, because the kids say that, you know, the whole time they're there, then that fiance you have is there. What is her name?
Kimmy.
This Kimmy.
You know who she is.
She's always around.
She's always around because she's my fiance.
They want to spend time with you. They don't want to spend time with her. They want to spend time with their father.
They are spending time with me, and she's there. That's going to be the construct of the household. So I had to introduce them to what the household is going to look like.
Oh, okay. So you didn't ask your children how you felt about Kimmy being around all the time, like you asked them about dance class?
Hold on, player. I don't have to ask them about my happiness.
Okay.
And so I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's right. Prioritize your happiness, because that's what's important here.
Well, if I'm not happy, then they're not going to be happy, just like you're not happy, so they're not happy.
What are you talking about? I'm not happy.
You're not happy, because every time I talk to you, it's either you're calling me up and you're leaving all these mad texts and you're leaving all these long offensive voicemails on my phone. You're not a happy person. You're not. You just can't get past whatever it is you're supposed to get past. Yo, we've been broken up for 4 years. 4 years. And you still want to bring up stupid stuff on this voicemails that you be sending me that I got to check at my job, almost getting fired. Because sometimes I may think it's about the kids, but no, it's more about what you feel I'm going on in my house and with my fiance and what my sister's done and blah, blah, blah.
How dare you try to paint me as this angry, resentful ex? Because that's not me at all, sir.
I'm not painting you. I'm actually
I know
who
I am, okay? And I know what I bring to the table. And because I have standards that you couldn't meet, does not make me angry or bitter.
The picture's already drawn. Okay. I'm not painting it right now. It's already drawn. Everybody can look at the portrait and be like, that's what it is, because they see it.
Okay.
And so Amber, I think I'm hearing like feeling mischaracterized right now. And it sounds like, and also feeling confident in who you are. And
absolutely. And let me just say this. Like, I knew when I got involved with Sebastian that, you know, he did not meet my standards, okay, that I wanted in a man. But he was a nice guy, so I gave him a chance.
Oh.
And in the end, it didn't work out. And, you know, I decided that, you know, I got 2 beautiful children out of it. And for that, I am truly grateful. But beyond that, I mean, I had to come to terms with the fact that he was not the one. And so I have most definitely moved on. And everything I've said or done is about my children because they are.
I moved on. I moved on. You didn't move on. I ended it. So no, if 8 years.
Okay, whether you think you ended it or whatever.
If 8 years, I wasn't the man you wanted to be for 8 years, you actually stood in it all that time. Now, part of it probably was about the kids, but I was the one that saw the writing on the wall and started writing a book like I need to be out. And I was out. And I called it quits. So don't make it seem like it was
and that's the one good thing that you did in that relationship.
Probably was the best thing I did in that relationship.
That's something we agree on.
Except for my kids. That was great, having these 2 kids. But the other greatest thing was bouncing.
So it sounds like, I'm sorry, David, go ahead.
Oh, I want to check it. It sounds like, you know, Amber, looking to. It sounds like actually for both of you a shared value of the children, and looking to prioritize their needs in terms of your relationship going forward. And Amber, looking for solutions that prioritize the children in communication with Sebastian going forward. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And Sebastian, also want to check in because I was hearing a couple of things for you. It sounds like valuing happiness in the familial context, and that happiness is important for you and your children. Is that right?
Yes, very much so.
And you know, feeling unhappy with what's happening with communication, and looking to develop solutions around communication. That offer a little more grace. Is that right?
Hopefully, yes. Yes, that's right. But hopefully we can get to some solutions because I'm not doing this no more. Can't. I'm tired.
And is it about feeling just fed up with how communication has happened thus far, and looking for communication that also protects your employment too? Is that right?
Oh my God, yes. Like she calls all the time. Yeah, like, look, I'm an electrical engineer. I mean, that's a very important job. I've been in this company for 10 years. Like I'm really moving up the ladder. Like I'm really getting myself in a good position to get a very, very, very lucrative promotion.
Very good. So maybe you can pay more child support than you're paying now.
Whatever the case may be, I can't do that if you're calling all the time. All the time. I got to take calls from you almost 4 or 5 times a day. You don't know when to stop. I got to answer your texts. I got to hear your voicemail. Because I don't know whether or not before the kids or not. So I got to listen to these long offensive voicemail that you keep leaving like you don't have nothing else to do in your day, and it's looking unprofessional at my job, which is why my boss, like, maybe you want to try mediation, which is why I brought it to you and you looked it up, because hopefully this is going to work so we can stop all of this that you're doing that's going to possibly affect my job, which could affect any other things, and it may affect your money if I don't have a job.
So it's important to you in terms of communication, like being able to look long-term and progressing your career, right? And protecting the income available to Nelson and Irene. Is that correct? Very
much so. And I just purchased a new home. So that definitely is in play. So everything is being put in place for me to have a very, very good life. Right now, it's kind of in jeopardy having to deal with her.
And
if you would take my phone calls, when I call you, I wouldn't have to leave long messages. When I call you and we're on the phone, you know, I think you hit your mute button or something, because I can't hear a thing, and then you give me these one-word answers.
What part of 8:30 to 5:30 that I work that you should be calling in between there? Why can't you just wait till after 5:30? Why you always got to call me at 10, 2, 12, 4, 9? Like, you can never call when I'm not working. You always feel like you got to have your time, and your time has to interrupt my time at work. Why?
You clearly don't even listen to your messages, because if I'm calling during those hours, it's about your children. Okay.
And so, Amber, I think I'm hearing you're looking for responsiveness when it comes to communication, and
absolutely.
Sebastian, I think I'm hearing you saying, like, looking for discipline in terms of your work hours when it comes to communication. Is that correct?
Yeah, discipline, or some type of I can't even find a word for where you could just be, just be cognizant of the fact that I'm at work.
And so when we get into the next step, and this is step 3 of the process, we're going to be asking you some more questions about what's been going on with communication. And right now I want to check in. You started talking about folks who were significant in Nelson and Irene. Who else would you identify as being significant people in the children in Nelson and Irene's lives?
My mother, my father.
Okay.
They call them Grandma and G Grand.
Grandma and G Grand.
Mm-hmm. That's about it for me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my parents are Mama and Papa.
Okay. All right.
And then my brother is Uncle Ray.
All right.
Drunk Uncle Ray?
What?
Drunk Uncle Ray?
Mm-hmm.
You know, though. That's why you ain't saying nothing. You know.
Your sisters want drunk Uncle Ray. And so you forgot to talk about that, right?
Well, I mean, them wanting somebody has nothing to do with the fact that he is a drunk.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like Sebastian, you're feeling amused by the mention of Uncle Ray, and I'm checking in. Is alcohol something that y'all might want to talk about when it comes to Roger and with Irene and Nelson?
You know what? He's getting better. He's getting better not being sauced around them. So that's getting better. It used to be a problem, but I will admit that he's getting better. It's
never been a problem.
Oh, it's been a problem, yo. Come on, don't do that. He's come over the crib drunk when we was together. Come on, you know that. You had to tell him to stay out in the hallway and chill, or go get yourself something to eat, or calm down, or you can't come in right now. Your eyes is already red and blah, blah, blah. So there was a time when it was a problem. However, I will admit.
My brother works hard, and every now and then he likes to have a few drinks.
So every now and then was every
Okay.
day? That's every day. That's every day. Every day was every now and then. That's not every now and then. That's two different things. Every day or every now and then. Which one you want to say? Because he drank every day at the bar. That's where we found him. That's where he went. That's where he always was after work. So come on, don't do that.
And so it sounds like accuracy in terms of what's going on with alcohol is something that's important to you.
Most definitely.
And Amber, it sounds like you're also looking for an accurate portrayal of what's happening with Uncle Ray.
Exactly. And Sebastian, he, first of all, he knows that I don't play about my family. So he needs to keep my brother's name out of his mouth, first and foremost.
I gave him a compliment. I said he's getting better.
How about you get better? That's who you need to be worried about. You get better.
I think I'm doing pretty well right now. I think I'm,
That's the problem. You think you're doing pretty well.
Despite what's going on.
You think you're doing pretty well.
Despite what's going on with you, I think I'm doing pretty
well.
You're
doing pretty well is just not being a total deadbeat. That's what you call doing pretty well. I'm not a total deadbeat, so I'm doing pretty well.
What's deadbeat to you? What's the credentials of deadbeat? Because I'm pretty sure I reached none of them. I'm pretty sure I'm above.
I just said because you're not a deadbeat, you think you're doing pretty well.
Oh, I'm doing. That's not.
Meeting the bare minimum is not pretty well.
Oh, I'm doing more than the bare minimum. I'm doing more than the bare minimum because you're doing well for.
I'm absolutely doing well.
From the money that you get from me. Huh? Because you ain't never complained about that.
Yeah, that's why I want you to get this promotion at work, because your child support is not doing the trick. Okay.
It's not my fault. That's your lawyer fault.
Mm-hmm.
Don't got nothing to do with me.
So I think I want to check in with you, David. I feel like there's a couple more reflections to do, but I want to check in to see if you had any more questions to ask or anything before we start checking in about moving into the next step.
No, other than reflections. I have some questions for the next step, but I think we're good. We're good to follow through.
Okay. I had a couple. So do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Oh, you could go first.
Okay, so I think I'm hearing, like, in terms of child support, that Sebastian feeling comfortable and confident with your contribution, and having your role as a father recognized and honored is something that's important to you. Is that right?
Very much so.
And Amber, I think I'm hearing you saying, like, having you mentioned something about child support not going far enough. So is that about, like, having additional support is something that's important to you for Nelson and Irene?
Yes, because you would think that someone who's claiming to be this great father would want to do as much as possible for their children. But he actually fought me on child support in the past because I make a really good living as a nurse. And so he
Why did I fight you?
Why did I fight you?
Why did I fight you?
Because you're trifling.
Because actually, you were getting more money from me without the courts than you were with the courts. But you thought that wasn't enough, so you try to go to the courts to try to get more, and now you're getting what you're getting from the courts, and now you're not getting what you wanted from me. So yes, I fought you because I thought they was going to make me pay more money. But now you're mad because the courts say, well, really, he's only supposed to pay this much. So now what you're getting on a monthly basis is less than what I was getting you before. So yeah, I did fight you because I thought I was going to give more, but I'm cool now because your lawyer sucked.
As I was saying, he claims to be this great father, but, what kind of man would take food out of their children's mouths.
My kids eat healthy. You already said that they're well taken care of. So if they're not eating anything, that's because you're not.
Because I see to it.
You're not shopping well. Maybe you're not shopping well. I don't know. Maybe your grocery skills are not up to par that you're buying the right food. I don't know. It has nothing to do with me. You get what you get from me because you took me downtown. So whatever comes out of my paycheck is what you're supposed to use to take care of them. So if you gotta shop better, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make it last a little bit longer. Maybe shop at ShopRite instead of trying to go to Wegmans all the time. I don't know. But that has nothing to do with me because you took me to court and the judgment that came down was what you sparked.
If you would have been consistent, I wouldn't have had to go downtown.
Oh, okay. All right. So you wasn't getting it on an every 2-week basis that you wanted, but when you got it, it was more than enough. You wanted consistency. I want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Their needs are consistent.
Okay. All right. That's again back to your detailed demands, and I wanted because the money that you were getting from me on a monthly basis, whenever it was. You
know what, Sebastian? Okay, you got it.
I know
you got it because guess what?
Thank you.
My children will not go without.
I know they won't.
So stop trying to hail yourself as this great father of the year.
I am the great father of the year because they are well taken care of.
Because of me.
Well, you got to put the time, so you're using the money that you make and the money that I give you to do it. So, yeah.
So I one checking. It sounds like Amber. It sounds like feeling neglected in terms of what's currently happening with the child support and valuing consistency and contribution is important to you. It also sounds like valuing healthy food and looking for increased accessibility to healthy foods is important to you. Is that right?
Well, I wouldn't say feeling neglected with the child support. I feel cheated. Okay, and it's not really about food. When I say taking food out of their mouths, I mean he's not doing his all. He's not doing his best. Not stepping up to the plate. As someone who claims to be a good father would. Okay, I was speaking rhetorically, but he thinks that I mean he does the minimum.
That's crazy. That's crazy because every time somebody asks me about you when it comes to the kids, I always tell them that you're an excellent mother. But
thank you for being honest.
But you can never give me the same. Ever. I've never said anything bad about
you. Do you do the same? Do you do the same?
I may not have as much time with them as you, but when they are with me, they get I am father of the year. Yes.
They get your time split between them and Kimmy
don't do it.
and whoever else.
Don't do it. Oh, you know you want to know who the other else is?
Who?
Those classes that you say you pay for. All of those classes is the other else.
That I say I pay for?
Whatever it is, but I gotta take them
there. If they're getting paid for, I'm paying for them.
I gotta take them there because you said this is what you want them in because I deem you as an excellent mother. However, I've told you on many times, these classes are cutting into the time I have with the kids. But you don't care about that.
And Kimmy is cutting into that time too, but you don't care about that.
Yet, I'm a bad father. So you can't have it both ways, yo. You can't.
I want to check in because a few topics are coming up in terms of like activities and looking for more flexibility and quality time with Nelson and Irene. I think I'm hearing you saying, Sebastian. And Amber, it sounds like feeling resentful about what's happening in terms of communication and And also, it sounds like maybe even with the support in terms of the expenses of the activities. And I want to check in to see, before we get into solidly into the topics, was there anything else you felt like we needed to know about Irene and Nelson before we move into getting into these topics that you've mentioned?
I don't really have anything. Because this is not their fault. What's going
So
on?
just say no so we can move on.
Nope.
Always just rambling for nothing. Just say no, there's nothing else. We can move on.
Oh, so now you want to move on.
See how easy that was?
Okay, all right. For the sake of, wanting to do it your way, no, there's nothing else.
All right, and it sounds like also with communication, Amber, in addition to timeliness, it sounds like succinctness is important to you when it comes to communication. Is that right?
Exactly.
And so I think we're in a good place to start shifting into talking about the specific topics. And I'm going to put a pause here, and I'm going to talk to our viewers right now. And so that is the other way that step 2 can happen. So it is just likely to happen that way, where they tell you about the children and you have to kind of bring it back towards talking about the children. And you'll notice frequently David and I are using the children's names. So we're not just saying the children, we're doing specifically Irene and Nelson, so that we can kind of trigger them to remember, like, to talk about Irene and Nelson without compromising our integrity. I mean, not integrity, but our neutrality. And we're just kind of keep directing our open-ended questions and our reflections on how the things they're talking about directly impact the children. Okay. Anything else that you would point out, David, Cawanna, or Darnyle, that you saw us doing in those 2 processes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Only thing I would mention is that we do, we do not interrupt them when they're talking. We are trying to jump in and get in reflections and ask questions, but we're not shutting them down. We're not cutting people off. Okay. So I think it is a good time to move into step 3.
All right.
Okay, so we're moving into step 3, and in this step of the process, we want to make sure we understand the specific topics that you would like to make decisions about in your parenting plan for Irene and Nelson. I'm going to share the parenting plan topics list a couple ways. So first, we'll put it in the chat, and I am about to do a shared screen as well. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit longer. I need to get that document up. All right. I'm doing a shared screen so we can see that together. And read through the list of items that we have on our parenting plan topics list, and these are possible topics. You are not limited to the topics on the sheet. And I'll read them through out loud. And I'm hoping that the center gave you a copy, emailed you a copy of this list as well. So it's broken down into a couple of phases. And so we are in the court language, they generally use language like custody and visitation. And so custody includes things like living arrangement and decision-making. And visitation includes your schedule. So let me go through the list and we'll just read through that. So under decision-making, we have your decision-making process, major decisions, day-to-day emergency, childcare, children's activities and events, clothing, communication with each other, communication with children, discipline, plan, ground rules, education and school records, entertainment, television, movies, music, games, equipment and toys, extended family members, health and medical, higher education, information exchange about children, life insurance, meals and food, medical and dental insurance, and medical and dental insurance and costs, other people, spiritual guidance, transportation, future dispute resolution. And under living arrangements, we have housing and future relocation. Okay.
Mhm.
So I wanted to check in, which of these do you feel like you want to make decisions about in your parenting plan agreement? Which of these topics do you feel like you'd like to work on?
Definitely communication with each other.
Okay.
Okay.
And children's activities and events. I really see.
And I would like to talk about clothing.
Okay.
What you mean clothing? We didn't even talk about clothing. What clothing? What?
Listen, I just said clothing. We need to talk about it because I buy my children good, high quality clothing, and you just go to the thrift store and get whatever is on the 50-cent rack.
You ain't mentioned nothing about clothing up until now. Now you want to just throw this in there?
I don't have to mention it. When you want me to mention it, I can mention it when I want to mention it.
It should have been mentioned when we were talking about the stuff that we had issues with. Now you want to keep bringing in new stuff? Okay, all right, let's talk about the clothing then. I don't have no problem with that. Cool, but thrift store clothing. They don't shop at the thrift store. They ain't never coming home with ripped up clothes and cheap clothes unless you saying my clothes are cheap that they come home in. But
they are. They are. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's what I'm saying.
If you don't, all right, that's cool. I mean, our choices of stores is different, so it's whatever. If you want to make that,
and I don't even know why you feel the need to have your little girlfriend, fiance, whatever, to buy my children anything to wear when we definitely don't have the same taste in clothing.
Because that's gonna be their stepmama.
Okay, well, stepmama needs to worry about her own kids because mine have everything they need to wear.
She don't got her own kids
yet. If you can't purchase good, same kind of high quality clothes that I purchased for my children.
She don't got her own kids yet, so she's going to spoil the kids that she has right now.
She doesn't have any right now.
So she's going to spoil Irene and she's going to spoil Nelson with what she can spoil them with.
So I think I'm sorry, David, you were about to say something.
No, sorry. It sounds like in terms of what's happening with clothing right now, Amber, it sounds like feeling shocked and surprised about what's happening with clothing. And that also sounds like valuing quality in your clothing and looking for consistency and communication around what's happening with clothing. Am I hitting that? Am I getting that right?
Almost. I mean, I'm not shocked and I'm not surprised because I've seen how this fiance dresses herself, and so shocked and surprised I'm not. But I'm very disappointed at Sebastian because,
wow,
Sebastian spares no expense when it comes to his clothing, and I expect no less for my children.
But you never liked my clothes when we was together, so I'm shopping them at the same type of places that I shop. So it's the same thing. You didn't like where I shopped before. Now you don't like where I shop for them. So you're never going to like where I shop, period.
What I said was you spared no expense.
At the places
that I like. You spend a lot of money on your clothes, even though I don't like them.
Exactly.
I would think that you would value what my children wear just as much.
I shop at the same type of places that I shop for my clothes. So it's the same type of thing. So you don't like my clothes, you don't like their clothes. That's always that's going to be a thing.
And I'm talking to the mediators right now. So don't get me wrong. I don't expect him to go out and get them Gucci and Prada and all of this, but I like good, high quality clothes for my
I'm not
kids.
shopping for black kids at Oshkosh. Not going to happen.
What What does them being Black have to do with anything at all?
You put them in them little white clothes that you're shopping at them little white malls. That's exactly what's going on.
How ridiculous do you sound?
As ridiculous as you putting them in them little white little clothes that you be sending them over with.
Oh, because I don't dress them in FUBU.
Yep.
You're ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous.
All right. You don't like my clothes? I don't like your clothes.
So, Sebastian, is that about like having clothes be a reflection of their cultural experience?
Exactly. Now, she don't really want me to get real cultural because they would be coming home in dashikis.
And I think for you, Amber, I think I'm hearing for you around clothes, it's like about protecting the boundaries in your role as a mother, and when it comes to how clothes are purchased, and
yes,
and also I think having assurances around high quality clothes is something that's important to you. Is that correct?
yes, because Marcus Garvey over there, who never left the west side of Baltimore, really needs to cut it out. Talking
west
about
side, west side is the best side though, so I don't have to leave over here.
Okay, but tell your fiance to stay out the thrift store buying my children anything. As a matter of fact, she doesn't need to purchase anything for my children.
She don't shop at the thrift store. You just don't like the clothes that she buys.
So it sounds like you have some ideas, Amber, that get you the protection of the boundaries that you're looking for as a parent, and also that gets you the quality that you're looking for.
Yes.
And Sebastian, I think also like feeling attacked about how the conversation around clothes and attacked and surprised. Is that right?
Feeling very much attacked. I've been attacked when she was together about the way I dress. However, I was dressing the same way when you met me. So I don't know.
You was a Bama then, you a Bama now.
You was with this Bama for 8 years.
Wasting my time. Yes, I was.
Whatever. So now you want to shop up.
Bad.
Now you want to be all bougie. Going to shopping out Columbia and traveling all the way to the outlets and all of that when you wasn't doing all that before. But now that you got this extra money, now you want to be like, okay, let me go shop at the places that I couldn't shop at before. You know what I'm saying? Going with your little bougie new friends at the nursing home, and you know, because they always want to get all the good stuff. So you start to do what they want to do. Go right ahead. Handle that. Be that other person that you really won't be able to sustain for a long period of time. Be who you want to be with them. That other.
So now we get into it. We get into it because you can't handle my growth. I
don't have to handle your growth. I could care less about your growth. However,
okay, well, with your fiance,
your growth has different narratives to it when it comes to what I put my kids in. Because all of a sudden now, because it's not bougie enough, those clothes aren't bougie enough for you. Now all of a sudden, now they got to be in different type of clothes. Because your friends now, they only shop here, so I only got to shop here for my kids. Because God forbid they come over the house one day with their kids, and my kids aren't dressed in the same type of clothes as their kids, and you're gonna look crazy in front of them. That's where you at.
So I'm gonna check in. It sounds like Sebastian, this other thing around clothing that's important to you is like sustainability. And I think I'm hearing you looking for consistency in terms of like how clothing happens in each household. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, clothing shouldn't be an issue. As long as their clothes is not ripped up and torn and they holes in their shoes and everything, I don't even know why you got an issue with clothes. Put them in what you want to put them in when they're with you, and I put them in what I want to put them in when they're with me. It's not a problem. They're not walking out here with holy clothes. I don't even know why clothing is an issue. It's only an issue to you because you've now raised the way you want to shop now.
I want to check in, David. Did you have any more questions about clothing, or did we want to see if we can frame it and list it?
No, I'm feeling comfortable with the topics.
Okay. And did you want to frame this one? You want me to frame this? Did you have a preference?
I could frame this.
Okay.
And thank you both for being open and talking about clothing. I want to check in and make sure, that we're hearing kind of everything that you're saying and perceiving about the topic correctly. And so Amber, it sounds like, feeling disappointed about what's happening for clothing, and looking, and when it comes to developing solutions for the topic of clothing, developing solutions that maintain consistency and respect boundaries are important for you when it comes to developing solutions for clothing. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And Sebastian, it sounds like feeling judged around what's happening with clothing, and looking for solutions around clothing that maintain the cultural integrity around the clothing, and it also allows for independence is important for you. Is that right?
Judged is very good. Culturally, dressing them not too much. I mean, like, it doesn't matter where they shop, but judged on where I shop for them is a huge thing. That's you're very right on that one.
All right, thank you.
And can I just say that I didn't bring up clothing before because I thought the other issues were more pressing, and I didn't know that we could use this forum for any and everything. But I appreciate the fact that there was a more comprehensive list available for me to speak about the things I wanted to address with Sebastian. But because
I can agree with that.
We could do this all year long, and with the things that I have, the issues that I have with Sebastian and the things he's doing. But in order to keep this brief and concise, I'm showing some restraint.
So sounds like being surprised at the range of topics and ideas that can be discussed about in mediation. Is that right?
Yes.
So with that being said, would clothing be a topic that you all would like to make plans about?
Yes, I would.
All right.
And what about you, Sebastian?
Sure, we can make some plans about it.
And what I'm doing here is I showed you earlier the topics list, potential possible topics list, and this one that we're creating right here is specifically your topics list. All right. And I wanted to check in. What's the next topic that you would like to discuss as part of your parenting plan for Irene and Nelson?
Definitely communication.
Okay. And can you say more about what's been happening, what communication looks like currently?
Now, I'm talking about communications with her as far as parenting. The communication I have with the kids is excellent. I don't really have an issue with that.
Okay. And so, and can you say more? You mentioned earlier, like feeling harassed at work sometimes with how communication happens. Is that right?
Yes, very much so. And here's the thing: to get to an even keel with between me and her, I have no problems with dealing with it after I get off of work. If I gotta listen to the voicemails, the long voicemails, if I gotta answer texts, if I gotta answer calls consistently, I don't mind having to do it after 5:30. I don't want to do it while I'm at work. All I'm asking is respect 8:30 to 5:30. That's all I'm asking.
For you, around communication, it's going to be important to have ideas around communication with each other that protect your career. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
He is so full of it. The only time that I call him between those hours is if there's something that I need to get his input on.
Every day?
A couple of weeks ago.
Every day? I got a call log here. I can pull up the call log on the last 5 days where you called in between those times, yo. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that.
See,
even if it's one time, though. Even if it's one time.
Let me give you an example of the times that I've called him. Okay. I was at the doctor's office with Nelson. Okay. And they wanted to make a follow-up appointment. And I know that Sebastian is off on some Mondays. So I wanted to see what day he would be able to take Sebastian to his follow-up appointment. I couldn't very well make the appointment without him saying yes, he could take him, or no, he couldn't. Or I just wanted to simply find out what day could he take him to his follow-up appointment. But he did what he always does and ignored the call. And so I couldn't make my son's appointment while I was there. And then, you know, when I'm at work, I can't be out here just making phone calls. And so, you know, it's really hard for me to call back and make the appointment.
Let's put that call in perspective. Yes, you did call trying to find out what time I could take him or which day I could take him. But the call before that was so out there that, of course, I didn't know what else you was calling for. I thought you were going to call to continue from the previous call. That's why I denied you, because I didn't want to keep arguing with you.
The call before that.
But was it an argument call? Can you just admit that it was an argument call before that one?
No, the call before that was when I was speaking to Irene, and Irene was telling me that you all had gone to Kimmy's people's house, who I don't know, in the midst of a damn pandemic. And I want to know, why do you have my children around strangers in a pandemic?
Where did Irene tell you she was? Did she say she was in the house, or did she say she was outside at the car? What did she say? And don't lie.
She said y'all went to Kimmy's people's house.
And were we outside or were we in the house?
It does not matter.
It does matter with the mandates. If I say we're going to stay out here, you're not going to go in there, we're going to stay more than 6 feet away, it doesn't matter where we were.
So why couldn't you answer my call to clarify? That's why I was asking questions.
No. I answered
that
call.
I was asking questions because I wanted to know.
Yeah, but you started off wild.
I want to know what you're exposing my children to.
You started off wild.
And in turn, I want to know what
you started off wild. You started off wilding. So that took it all the way to 10. You started off at 10. You didn't start at 2. Like, hey, are y'all inside these people's houses? No, you started off assuming where you thought we were. But here's another question for you. When I ever call you, is it during your work hours? Never.
When exactly do you call me?
But it's not during your work hours. It's not during your work hours, because I respect your work hours. You don't respect mine, though.
You know what? You're so full of it.
Full of the truth.
So
full of it, because I remember the day back in the days, back when things were good between us, way back, when you didn't give a damn about your job's rules about not being on the phone.
Because they were pleasant calls.
All day, every day. Hey, babe, what you doing?
They were pleasant calls. They were pleasant calls. There's a difference between talking to somebody when you're on a pleasant call than talking to somebody when you're on a cantankerous call.
And I didn't know. You can only get pleasant calls during work hours. Let me know that.
I can have a nice phone. I can have a nice phone call with somebody, and nobody around will know that something is wrong. Now, when you call, everybody knows there's something wrong because we're yelling and screaming. So there's a difference between the calls.
Okay.
And so I think Amber, something I'm hearing you say when it comes to communication, like that you felt in the dark about what was going on with Nelson and Irene at times and looking for some assurances around their safety.
Exactly. I was just trying to get some clarity.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I was just trying to get some clarity. That's it. I mean, as a healthcare professional, I know that a lot of people don't take this pandemic seriously. And I believe Sebastian is one of those people.
Dude, I was the one that told you when they first started with the mask.
Excuse me, one moment.
Whatever, yo.
And
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. And Amber, it sounds like you've that at times with communication that you felt dismissed and ignored with how communication has happened. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And I think Sebastian, having communication be peaceful is something that's important to you. Is that right?
Very much so.
And I wanted to check in, David, did you have other questions about communication?
No, I did not.
Or other reflections? I think, actually, earlier, I think when it came to communication, something else I think I heard you say earlier, Amber, was like feeling protective of your family about how communication happens.
Absolutely.
And also, Sebastian, I think I was hearing you saying like having communication happen in a way that allows you input in terms of what's happening with Irene and Nelson is something that's important to you as well. Is that right?
Yes.
So is communication something to list as something you'd like to make decisions about for your parenting plan agreement for Irene and Nelson?
That's the first one.
Okay. That's communication with each other. I'm sorry, I meant to check on that. Is that right? Communication with each other?
Yes.
Is that correct, Amber?
I mean, what about his sisters and his fiance talking negatively about me to my children?
Okay, and I want to check in and see if that's a whole nother topic.
Sebastian, what was said?
Yo, you know good and well that I do not allow any of them to talk bad about you. Come on, yeah. Now you taking it too far. Now this is just your imagination going wild because you actually stood around as I told people what the one thing you won't do is talk negatively about her around the kids. You've known I've said that, so I don't even know why you want to make that a topic.
You can say around the kids all you want to, but
you just said around the kids.
When they thought the kids didn't hear them, they were saying little slick shit about me. Okay? When they thought the kids did not hear them, they just need to keep my name out their mouth. How about that?
So Amber, is that about looking for respect and how communication happens with other family members?
Exactly. He needs to let them know to keep my name out their mouth, period. Whether it's to the kids or whoever else.
It also sounds like having some clear ideas about how you would like that resolved, and so I want to check in and see if that is something that you would like to use this mediation as a way to address.
Well, I already addressed it. That's what it is. Keep my name out their damn mouth. The end.
So sounds like feeling pretty resolved on this topic. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Sebastian, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't have no issue with that. I'll have a conversation with them about just stop talking about her, because I really don't want to hear anything about her when I'm not around her. So yeah, if that could bring an end to that topic, then yes, I will say, please keep her name out your mouth.
And is that something that you all would like to see in your agreement? Is that a decision like you in the written agreement?
I don't even think that should be a part of this, but if you want to make it a part of this, if you really want them to write this down in the agreement, Sebastian promised that he would tell his sisters and family to keep my name out their mouth. If you want to put that on there, then okay, you can put that on there. But it doesn't seem like something that needs to be on there. But I'm gonna leave that up to you. If you wanted that to be on there, then it can be on there.
Okay, and we can check on that when we get to step 5. I just wanted to see if there was anything else around that topic. What is the next topic y'all would like to discuss?
Kids' activities. Yeah.
And Amber, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what it is to discuss because I pay for them, so that's what they're doing. My children tell me what they're interested in doing, and that's what I encourage, and that's what I support, and that's what they do.
So you do realize that your time that you said I have with them, you made it apparently clear that I got every other weekend and 1 week in the summertime, or 1 month, whatever it is, 1 week in the summertime, that the 5 or 6 classes that you have them enrolled in, which is including French, they learn that in school, but anyway, French, voice, ballet, all these classes that could potentially use up some of the time that I have with them. You trying to say that all those classes are needed?
Yes, they are needed.
Come on, yo.
For their growth and culture. Yes, it is needed.
So you think that is fair that I picked them up on a Friday at 5 o'clock, right? No, 6 o'clock, because I get off 5:30. I pick them up at 6 o'clock. I immediately have to take them to a class on Friday from 6 to 7, 6:30 to 7, whatever it is. Then get up in the morning on Saturday and take them to classes. And you trying to tell me that you don't think that's cutting into the bonding time that I have with them in the little bit of time that I do have with them?
No, Kimmy is breaking into the bonding time you have with them.
Come on, yo. Now you're being unreasonable. Now you're being unreasonable. It's too many classes. Too many. So yes, we're gonna make that a topic, because I feel as though if you want to give them 3 or 4 classes, let one of them classes be something that I'm interested in going to with them also, that I have an interest in. So it could be 2 classes that you pay for and 1 class that I pay for, but at least the class that I pay for can also be a part of the bonding time I have.
Well, let me be clear about this. If you want to put them in African drumming or whatever it is, feel free to do that. Well, no drums be coming to my house.
The drums that stay at my house, I have no problem
with that.
That
noise may be acceptable in your neighborhood, but they won't be coming home with me.
I don't got a problem with that. But what you're going to have to do is eliminate.
Okay, and you can pay for it.
You're going to eliminate. Then you're going to eliminate one of the classes that you got them enrolled in.
Yeah. Sounds like you have some specific ideas around activities that maximize your time with Irene and Nelson, Sebastian. Amber, it sounds like protecting your boundaries around volume is something that's important to you. And before we get into solutions, I guess I want to hear more about activities. Can Amber, can you talk about how you decide which activities to enroll Irene and Nelson in?
Well, I see the things since I'm with them more. I see the things that they enjoy, and I talk to them about what they like. What would you like to learn to do? And Sebastian mentioned the French classes. I do think that's important. I mean, they're in Spanish in school, but I think that learning foreign languages is really important. And so, specifically, most of the world is at least bilingual, but many kids around the world speak 3 and 4 languages. I just want my children to have all the opportunities that they can have. And so, learning another language is really an important part of that.
So they got more schools. They got more schools. So they go to school Monday through Friday, and then they got more school on the weekend.
But they enjoy all of those classes.
They're going to tell you they enjoy
learning new things. They enjoy learning new things.
Irene didn't even know that she was going to French class until you took her that one day.
So I want to check in and make sure I'm hearing everything right. So Amber, it sounds like feeling confident in what's currently happening with children's activities, and also sounds like valuing conversation and self-expression in regards to the selection of the activities is important to you, as well as the importance of language. Is that right?
Yes.
And Sebastian, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like looking for some consideration and for some input into how the selection of activities and events is happening. Is that right?
Yes.
Tracee, I think I feel knowledgeable about this topic. Do you have any other questions or things that you wanted to ask?
It sounded like, well, I just wanted to check in because Sebastian, earlier, I think I heard you saying that having the children's input was something that was important to you when it comes to activities. Is that right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Having Irene and Nelson's input around activities is something that's important.
Most definitely.
Can y'all talk about like how you get their input currently?
I asked them. I talked to them. After every class, this is how I found out where Nelson didn't like being in dance class. I'm in the class, I'm watching it go down, and you're right, they jump from different type of dancing, but they do more ballet than they do hip hop dancing, which he loves. So in the ballet part, he's totally checked out. He's really not into it. So I'm like, one day I asked the teacher, how this class is it based more on ballet than it is hip hop? And she was like, well, yes, it's more kind of developing their more what she calls structured dancing skills than it is with freestyle dancing. So I'm going to spend a whole lot more time on modern dance and ballet. And when I after the class, I said to him, I said, so how do you feel about the ballet part, the modern dance? And he was like, I don't like it, Daddy, because it's not what I want to do. I only like it when we do hip hop, and that's at the last 30 minutes of the class.
He's picking up on your energy.
Oh my!
And I know that's exactly what that is.
There is no picking up on energy when I'm noticing, when I see it. And when you see it, you have to ask about it. And he's not happy during that part. So now we're there for 2 hours. And
he's saying what he believes you wants to hear.
Oh my goodness. Yo, all you got to do is look. All you got to do is look. But for an hour and a half, what are you actually observing? Are you just looking at Irene having fun? Or are you looking at both of them? Because you can't, even the teacher said to me, you know what, Mr. Sebastian, you right. when we're doing this part, he's not really all there, but he really gets into it doing hip hop dancing. So if the teacher is saying that to me, what am I to say? It ain't like I'm making it up.
And so, Amber, it sounds like feeling skeptical about the feedback that Nelson is giving around the class. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And
you don't got to be skeptical. Ask him. But you said I shouldn't have to ask him. You said that in the beginning. Ask him.
And I think, Sebastian, you have some specific ideas on how to get accurate feedback from Roger. I mean, from Nelson about the class. And so when we get to the next step of the process, the brainstorming part of the process, you'll have an opportunity for that the two of you can come up with ideas that would get you accurate feedback from Nelson about what's happening with activities.
Okay.
And so I just want to check in. Did you want to frame it? Did you want me to frame it, David?
I think I could frame it.
Okay. All right.
And so in regards to children activities and events, Sebastian, it sounds like feeling worried and feeling apprehensive about what's happening with children's activities and events, and looking for solutions that include input, and as well as looking for solutions that involve consideration around what's happening with the schedule as well, are important to you. Is that right?
Very much so.
And then Amber, I want to check in. It sounds like feeling confident and feeling proud about what's happening with children's activities and events. And when it comes to developing solutions around children's activities and events, looking for solutions that maintain the integrity of culture and freedom of expression for Irene and Nelson is important for you. Is that right?
Yes, that's all important for me.
Okay. So would children's activities and events be a topic that you all would like to make plans around?
No.
Wow.
No, because they're in their activities and they're going to stay in their activities.
And so
I'm not going to suppress my children's growth because their father can't handle it.
You're not suppressing growth at all. All you're doing is trying to find a compromise between all of your events and one event. That's it. Like, compromise. This is why we're here. Mediation, compromise. Come to a point where both of us can decide. You can't be obstinate on one point and want to talk about all the other points. I allow something to come in for you, so why don't you allow something to come in for me?
So looking for some flexibility and some consideration in terms of how topics get listed. Is that right, Sebastian?
Yes.
And Amber, I think I'm hearing like feeling comfortable with the topics with the activities that Irene and Nelson are involved in. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And can you say more about your reluctance to listing activities as a topic?
I mean, I don't see why. So what I can do is their activities that normally happen when they're with their father, I can change those. Change the dates and times on them so that they don't happen while they're with him. And so other than that, if he's not paying for it, he doesn't have any say.
So it sounds like feeling
that's
willing.
The bottom line on that.
So it sounds like you're feeling willing to accommodate some of the the Irene and Nelson's time with Sebastian, and feeling flexible about the scheduling of activities. And so it sounds like those could be some of the ideas that get listed if you decide to brainstorm activities as a topic. Earlier, I think something that was something you were worried about was making sure that Nelson's opinions about the classes weren't coerced ideas or coerced opinions. Is that right?
Absolutely.
And so one of the ways that you could use mediation is to get an accurate, come up with ideas that would get you an accurate read or understanding about Nelson's experience with the activities. And I want to check to see if you'd like to use mediation to do that.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. And Sebastian, what are your thoughts on listing activities as a topic?
I like that. That should be one of the topics.
Okay. All right. And so we have, sorry, I forgot to do the share. I'm doing the share now. So clothing, communication with each other, and activities. If you were to come up with resolution on each of these topics, do you feel like you would have a complete parenting plan agreement for Irene and Sebastian? Sorry, for Irene and Nelson?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I think with that, we're ready to move to the next step. And so we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back. Okay. Okay.
Did we decide what we're brainstorming yet?
No, I was going to, I'm going to kind of go with you the process of the brainstorm process, and then I'll check in with each of you on which topic you'd like to work with first, okay?
Okay.
All right, and so in this step, while the earlier part of the mediation, we're talking about what has been happening. At this point, we're going to talk about the future and what you do want for your parenting plan agreement for Nelson and Irene. And I wanted to just kind of run through. So in this process, we'll focus on one topic at a time. You come up as many ideas as you have around the topic, and David and I will be kind of reminding you of some of the things that were important to you around the topic. All ideas will be written down, and you're encouraged to be as creative as you like. And at this point, I'm just going to check in. Which topic would you like to begin with?
I'll just go down and list and just, start with clothing.
Okay. And what are your thoughts about that, Amber?
Well, I would think activities would be the easiest one to start with because I already have the solutions for that.
Okay.
So we should just be able to knock that out real fast.
Okay. And Sebastian, what do you think?
Okay, we can do that.
All right. All right. So we can start off with activities. And thank you, David, for typing.
Mm-hmm.
What are all of your ideas around activities?
Well, Nelson and Irene will remain in all of their activities as they are now. And I will adjust the schedule so that none of those activities falls on Sebastian's weekend. The end.
All right. And I just want to make sure that you can see the ideas as they're being typed up. Can everybody see those? Okay. And I wanted to check in. Something that was important to you, Sebastian, around activities was having being able to maximize your time with Irene and Nelson. What are some ideas around activities that the two of you have that will allow for that maximizing of time?
Well, the two that she put there is cool. I mean, because I just needed, because some of the activities was cutting in on our time. So if she does that, then I'm good with that.
Okay.
I do want to add that that Amber, you know, talks more with the kids on what activities they, you know, they really want to do, especially Nelson when it comes to the dance class.
How about Sebastian does not say negative things about Nelson's dance classes?
I never said anything. I never said anything negative about it. I like the dance class for, you know, for Irene. I just don't like the fact that Nelson doesn't like the ballet and modern dance part.
No, because you put it in his head that it's not manly.
I never said that. I never said that. I never said that. I just recognized that he wasn't having as much fun on that part as he was on the hip hop dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, I think, was my understanding that being able to engage in activities with Nelson Irene was something that was important to you, Sebastian. What ideas did the two of you have that would allow for that kind of engagement?
Well, being that she will adjust the schedule that none of her classes fall on my weekend, I will suggest that maybe, you know, one of the activities that we can do together is the African drumming class, and it will not infiltrate any of the class times that, you know, that they'll have while they're with her. It'll only happen while they're with me.
And you need to pay for it also.
And sorry, I just want to check in because you said one of the activities done together will be the African drumming, and who are the people in terms of doing the activity together?
Me and the kids.
Okay, gotcha. Just want to make sure.
And Kimmy, don't leave her out.
Kimmy's not going to be a part of it.
Oh wow! What, the fiance is not going to be a part of it?
And I wanted to check in, Amber. It sounded like you were surprised at that idea, is that right?
Exactly, because he just made it seem like, oh, she's a part of everything. And so
she does African dancing. She doesn't necessarily have to be there for African drumming.
What else?
I mean, that's it. Did you write down that he's going to pay for it?
Ooh, boy,
is something funny about that?
Always comes back to money for you.
And I'm sorry, I just want to check in. When you mean it, are you referring to the African drumming?
Absolutely. And yes, make sure it stays at his home. And he should not be giving them any drums to bring home. Just to be very clear.
That's the pettiness.
Okay.
What is petty about that?
What's petty is you don't want anything, because if they enjoy the African drums and they want to play the drums while they're not around me, you're not allowing them to do that, which is cool.
Okay, well, listen, I live in a decent neighborhood, and so them playing the drums all night and day is not acceptable.
So the decency of your neighborhood will trump the happiness of your kids.
My children are very much happy.
I'm not saying that they're not happy. I'm just saying if they want to enjoy their drums during the day, I'm not saying they're going to do. You can make sure they don't play it late at night, but if they want to play the drums during the day when they're with you,
okay, they're gonna play them when they're with you. Okay, and that's it.
And they gotta wait. They gotta
That's
wait.
When they're with me, they can do their ballet, their hip hop dance, and they can speak French. How about that?
Sounds good.
So you run your house, let me run mine.
Okay.
And I think that there's a couple ideas there that not ideas but values that came out with that. And Amber, it sounds like protecting the kind of cultural traditions in your neighborhood is something that's important to you.
It's the tranquility in my neighborhood.
Okay, so protecting the peace and tranquility in your neighborhood is something that's important to you. And Sebastian, I think you were looking for ideas that prioritize Nelson and Irene's interest. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? No, we're gonna keep it there. The drums will stay at my house, but however, Amber will be open to letting them come over my house during some times that they're with her if they want to play the drums while she's
No,
with them.
sir. No, sir.
So
you're gonna have to take me to court for that.
So if Nelson says, so if Nelson says,
he's not gonna say,
we're just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there, just hypothetically. If Nelson says, or
and Nelson's a 9-year-old.
Oh, geez.
So Nelson doesn't get to tell me what he's going to do.
I'm not saying tell.
I'm his mother, and I'm making the decisions that are best for him.
Are you willing to compromise him or her coming over the house for an hour to play with the drums while they're with you?
It depends, because they have homework.
Okay, I mean, however you want to do it, but if they are willing, make a way for them to do that. Because the drums are going to be at my house. And if Irene goes, Mommy, I want to play some drums. Can I go over Daddy's house for an hour to play some drums? Will you allow that?
If I have other things planned, then I may allow them to spend some time with you.
Okay.
But barring that, I don't foresee that happening too often.
Okay. All right.
There was this other idea, David, that that Sebastian goes to court if he wants Irene and Nelson to come over.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to take it that far.
And it sounded like you felt repelled by that idea. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not going to go to court for that. I mean, if you want to put it up there, but I'm not going to court for that.
And this is just a reminder that all the ideas that are said, we write up all the ideas, but just because it's typed up there doesn't mean that it's necessarily one that you'll choose to go into your agreement. That's you'll make those decisions in the next steps. Okay. All right. And nothing, and only the things that you have consensus on will go into your agreement. And I wanted to check back in. I think again, Amber, you wanted to protect the tranquility of your neighborhood, and Sebastian, assuring that the interest of Nelson and Irene were prioritized when it comes to activities. So what ideas do the two of you have that would get both the prioritization of Nelson and Irene's interest and the protection for the tranquility of the neighborhood when it comes to activities?
I mean, if he can pick them up on my time, why can't I pick them up when he's with them to take them to their activities? See, he's creating this double standard.
No, because the classes that you enrolled them in happened during the time they was with me. If you wanted to come pick them up and take them to the class, that's cool. My class is not even in session yet. Like that's not even a real thing yet. That's why I'm saying if they wanted to play the drums.
Okay, well that's the idea right there. When they're with him, I will pick them up and take them to their activities that I've enrolled them in.
Again, now it's going to go back to infringing on my time.
Okay, but when you're picking them up to take them to play the drums, you're infringing on my time.
But you have 2 weeks, like you have them most of the time, so it's not infringing that much on your time.
So feeling protective of your time with of Nelson and Irene, and guarding that time carefully is something that's important to you. Is that right, Sebastian?
Yes.
And what are some ideas around activities that would get you that that would allow you to maximize your time with them?
I think we already put it up there about, you know, their classes will not be scheduled during my time. So there it is. And I won't, you know what, and we could, I guess when we get to the other part, we can wipe out the fact of whether or not they want to come dance, they want to come drum while they're with you. They just, all drumming will just be done during my time. So
very good.
Okay. And I think another idea, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to be suggesting ideas, but Amber, did you say something earlier that if you had something to do, the kids could come, could go to Sebastian's house to drum?
Yes.
Did that get on there?
I don't think I captured that exact language. Let me capture that.
Okay.
So is that plan, if Amber has no plans, then Nelson and Irene can go over to Sebastian's house?
No, if I have plans to go out, like,
oh, okay, gotcha,
with friends or whatever.
All right, thank you.
But we're in the midst of a pandemic, so that's not going to happen too often. But once things start opening up, you know, if I do venture out, you know, I don't want them to be home alone. And so he can come and pick them up then.
All right, so I'm gonna pause and talk to folks watching this video right now. So in a real mediation, we would keep working towards using their values to help them come up with more ideas on activities. So we've already used some of their values. We've used them one at a time. What ideas would allow you to maximize your time? And we've used another strategy called a win-win knit, where I use one of Amber's values and one of Sebastian's values. And ideally, you use values that they've been talking about as if they were explicitly opposing. And this one, I think I used Amber's value about protecting the tranquility of the home, and Sebastian's value of, you know, allowing the kids to, putting the kids' interest first. And we do the win-win knit, where we hook those values together and say what ideas would get you both the tranquility in the neighborhood and the prioritization of Irene and Nelson's values, and ask them what ideas would get both of those values at the same time. And so that's a win-win knit. And so I would keep using a combination of win-win knits, using one of their values. And even when I use one value, I still ask them both what ideas would meet that value, and then just an open-ended question of what else. And I'd keep, you know, kind of rotating those strategies to get as many ideas from them as possible. All right. And I want to exhaust all the values that I've collected, as well as my co-mediators collected. Okay. So at this point, we're going to transition from stage A of the brainstorm, which is the general brainstorm, to moving into stage B of the decision-making process, which is picking the ideas. David, how will we indicate ideas that they've both chosen?
For ideas that they have both chosen, we're going to highlight them in yellow.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight this and make it to almost have sort of a key.
Okay.
Which ideas agreed upon. And for ideas that have potential, we're going to underline them.
Okay.
Without the highlight, I'm going to get rid of that.
Okay, great. All right, so that'll be our key for the brainstorm. And so we are going to go back into the role play and back into character. All right, so I'm going to read through the whole list. And after that, I'm going to ask you, which ideas do you feel like you can easily agree to? So we have Nelson and Irene remain in all activities as they are. Amber adjusts the schedule so that none of the activities will fall on Sebastian's weekend. Amber talks more with Irene on what activities they want. Amber talks to Nelson about what he wants to do with dance class. Sebastian does not talk negatively about dance class with Nelson. Sebastian, Irene, and Nelson participate together in African drumming. So Sebastian pays for African drumming. The African drumming is done at Sebastian's house. Sebastian does not give Nelson and Irene drums to play at Amber's house. Nelson and Irene practice their dancing with Amber. Irene and Nelson speak French when they are with Amber. Amber is open to Nelson and Irene going over to Sebastian's house if they want to drum. Sebastian goes to court if he wants Irene and Nelson to come over to his house and drum. Amber can pick up Nelson and Irene on Sebastian's time. Amber can pick up Irene and Nelson during Sebastian's time to take them to activities they are enrolled in. If Amber has to go out, Nelson and Irene can go over to Sebastian's house. If Amber has plans to go out, Sebastian can pick up Irene and Nelson. Okay. Which of these ideas do you feel like you can come to quick agreement on?
I can agree to all of them.
Okay. And Sebastian, what are your thoughts? What ideas do you feel like you can quickly agree to?
I can agree to most of them except the ones where she's coming to pick them up during my time, because if we're agreeing to the classes being done during her time and not during my time, then there's going to be no reasons for her to come and pick them up while they're with me.
Okay, so I just want to check in. Okay, and so again, Sebastian, you're feeling protective of your time, and so which one of these ideas do you feel like would work with protecting your time, and which ideas do you feel like, again, the two of you can come to easy agreement on?
Well, Nelson and Irene remain in all of the activities as they are now. We can do that.
And Sebastian, what are your thoughts about that?
That's good for me.
Okay. What else?
And then I will adjust their schedule so that none of the activities will fall on Sebastian's weekend.
That's good for me.
And Sebastian can pay for the African drumming if he wants to.
Yep.
And as long as Sebastian does not talk negatively about the dance classes with Nelson, I'm fine.
which I don't, but okay, we could agree on that.
That's all I got.
I would like Amber to talk with Nelson about what he wants to do with dance class.
And Amber, what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, I mean, I've talked to him before, but if it makes him feel better, I'll talk to him again.
All right. And what other ideas you feel like you can easily agree to?
Oh, the drumming is done at Sebastian's house.
Okay.
What else?
Wait, didn't you have a dotted one?
Okay. What else do you feel like you can easily agree to?
I don't see anything that we can easily agree to right now.
Okay. Which ones do you think might work with some tweaking and adjusting?
Well, let me see. There was one about Amber picking up Nelson and Irene on Sebastian's time.
And no, we're not going to do that. That's no, because what's the use? If we're going to agree with it being they're not going to have no classes during my time, then there's no reason for her to come pick them up during my time.
It sounds like Sebastian, again, like wanting to protect your time with Irene and Nelson and feeling intruded upon by that idea. Is that right?
I mean, I don't want to put it as negatively as being intruded upon, but if we agreed that no classes were going to be scheduled during my time, then there's no reason for her to have to come and pick them up during my time.
All right.
Okay, whatever. So what about if I have plans to go out, Sebastian can pick up Irene and Nelson. I mean, he really doesn't have to pick them up. I can drop them off.
Okay. And that last one will that we should underline that one because there seemed to be some interest in it. And then this other one about if Amber goes out, Sebastian can. I think it's the one above it that we're looking at, and then the question is about how they will get to Sebastian's house. Is that what you're saying, that Amber, you're feeling willing to drop them off?
Yeah, I think it's the one below. If I have plans to go out, Sebastian, instead of him picking them up, I could drop them off.
Okay.
Because he just be sending anybody to my house. And so.
Wow.
I could. That's what I said. Wow.
And Amber, can you understand when you said he'll send anybody to your house? Can you help me understand what you mean by that?
Because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, our agreement is that he'll pick the children up, but he'll send his fiance, and then he'll send his sisters, and, you know, all of these random people that I don't mess with. And he'll send his fiance and her sister, and, you know, them the same ones. They don't like me, I don't like them. Don't come to my house.
So feeling feeling cautious about who's in and around you, right?
Exactly.
And having folks who are friendly and welcoming of you is something that's important to you. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay. And Sebastian, what are your thoughts on that?
That's cool. They don't, I'll be the only one to pick them up. But that's only when I'm only picking them up if they want to come over to play the drums. I'm not coming to pick them up if you got plans to go out. So you want me to come get them? No, that's
not. So you only.
That's what it was. I said, what if they want to?
So you don't want to do anything that's going to be convenient for me.
That wasn't even discussed. That wasn't even discussed.
So it's really not about spending time with your children for you.
No,
it's about infringing upon my time.
No. It was if the kids want to play drums while they're with you, can they come over to play the drums? It wasn't if you got plans or if you want to go out with your friends. So what if they want to come play drums and I just happen to have plans? That's then okay. But it's not going to be so every time you happen. Thank you. It's not going to be every time you want to go out, I'm going to come and get them. Look, that case been closed. Can we move forward?
Okay. All right, so folks who are watching this video, we would keep checking in to see if there are ideas that they feel like they could agree to with some tweaking and adjusting. But now we're going to switch in for the sake of time and the length of this video. What we're going to do now is switch to the final part of the brainstorming process, which is getting details. And so we'll demonstrate getting details on a couple of these ideas, okay? So I'm just going to go down the line and make sure that we have the details so that this goes into the agreement and you have are on the same page of how these ideas will be implemented. So Nelson and Irene remain in all the activities as they are now. What details do you feel like you need to be able to implement this idea?
That's kind of self-explanatory, so yeah. I don't think we need any details.
Okay, all right. And Amber adjusts the schedule so that none of the activities fall on Sebastian's weekend. When can that happen by?
Okay, so I have to speak to their instructors because I have mentioned it before. And they gave me some options. So I'll speak to them on tomorrow. So before the next time they go to stay with their father, it should be adjusted.
Okay. And Sebastian, how does that work for you?
That works.
Okay. And are there any other details that you need in order to be able to implement this idea?
No.
Okay. And Amber talks with Nelson about what he wants to do with the dance class. When could that happen by?
I can speak to him when I go home today.
Okay. And
but Sebastian needs to know, he needs to accept what I say, whatever Nelson said, because the thing is, you know, he's influencing Nelson negatively, but when I speak to Nelson, it's a whole different story, and he doesn't believe me. So he needs to believe me when I say that Nelson loves his class.
As long as you lead with understanding and not leading with what you think he should say. Just straight out ask the question, do you like the ballet portion of the class? And see what he says.
Okay, and so the idea is specifically, Amber asked, do you like the ballet portion of the class? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay. And
No, no, that's not what I'm going to be. I'm going to ask him, how do you feel about your class?
No, because
What are your thoughts about your class?
It's not, that's not specific enough, because he's going to say, well, class is cool, because in the kid's mind, all he's going to be thinking about is the part he really enjoys, which is the hip hop dancing. So he's not going to want to be taken out of that part. But if
okay, well, I can ask him, is there any part of it that you don't like? To give him the space to say.
Okay, all right.
Because I feel like you're just trying to single out ballet to put the thoughts in his head.
No,
and that's not going to happen.
That's just the part I observe.
okay. Okay, so the idea has been adjusted. Amber talks to Nelson on May 2nd, 2021 about what he wants to do with dance class. Amber will ask, how do you like the dance class? And follow up, is there anything you do not like about class? Does that work?
Yes, that works.
Yes. Okay, all right. All right, and so we would go through, this is me talking to viewers right now. We would go through each of the chosen ideas and check in for any details they feel like they need in order to be able to implement these ideas. And the final part to brainstorming that we would do is there's a 2 questions that we ask. So one question that we'd ask, and I'll demonstrate that now, is, are there any challenges that you see to implementing these ideas?
I don't see any challenges.
Okay. And I want to check in. I think when it came to activities, Amber, it sounds like that you felt comfortable and felt protective of your comfort in the activities that Roger and that Nelson and Irene were involved in. If you were to implement these ideas that you've come up with in the agreement, do you still feel comfortable with their activities?
Yes.
Okay. And Sebastian, if I think you were feeling infringed upon with what was happening with activities, is that right?
Yes.
And if you were to implement these ideas that you've come up with, would you still feel infringed upon?
I would not.
Okay, all right. So I want to check in. Would you like a written agreement?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, because he has a short memory, so yes.
Okay. And David, do you mind stopping the screen share? All right, great. So with parenting plan, we would run each of the topics through the same brainstorm. We'll have a link below to our other video that is not on Zoom. There's a link to, well, we'll probably put a link to the video of basic mediation that is on Zoom, and you can see that brainstorm. And we have another link to a more professionally done video, not professionally acted, but more professionally edited. Although we, you know what, we got a stellar editing team going on this time, so we'll see how this will come out well too. Definitely the cameraman was more professional in this other video. We'll have linked below, so please check that out. What's the thing you always have to say on YouTube? Like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. It helps with engagement and boosting the video's visibility.
Thank you. Thanks, David. All right, and thank you so much, and have a great one. Awesome. I think the great staff, the